How much of Africa's malaise at the World Cup is down to poor mentality, weak mentality? And how much of it is just a matter of quality, coaching, individual player quality? I see a lot of you gravitate towards the mentality argument, and you reference Cote d'Ivoire's defeat to Norway. You reference Senegal's capitulation to Belgium in the manner of which really disappointing, I have to add. You reference DR Congo's defeat to England and use that as sufficient basis. But I beg to differ, and I'll make my arguments in a moment. Before I do that, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I would like to know what you think of this, so leave me a comment and tell me why you think it's a matter of poor mentality or otherwise. But also like this video for me. I think the best answer is the one you arrive at, having separated each issue, looked on a case-by-case level, the specific incidents that led to the defeats of all of these countries. And I think you would have the answer. I have, and that's why I gravitate towards the angle of just plain old quality or tactical incompetence, if you want to stretch it and be that critical or possibly dismissive of what these coaches have done. But I'm clearing my mind that there is a big coaching issue, and there's a certain golfing class that we have still not been able to match on a coaching level. And that's why we keep getting punished. At least when it comes to this tournament, I'm clearing my mind, it is not a mentality problem. And I'll explain why. When you get to the group stage, and the games that have been used as examples, because I want us to have sufficient or enough body of work, enough examples across group stage, knockout stage to choose from, not just the knockout stage. In the group stage, the games that led a lot of people to say these teams cannot compete because they have a weak mentality. So for example, Senegal against France. One, there was a coaching problem, and two, there was individual player quality problem. The first coaching bit is that I didn't think Pap Thiaw held himself by the lineup and by the players he selected. I didn't think so. Even his substitutions I thought were suspect. And I have said repeatedly that this loyalty, if you like, to old players who have served their countries well, and it appears to be only a West African problem, or everywhere else but North Africa, because Central, Eastern, West Africa, we have the same disease. Someone serves the country well, when they get old, we are reluctant to move them on. Because tell me why Sadio Mane is still starting games when Iliman Ndiaye is sitting on the bench, especially when Mane is not producing enough for the team. He's long past his sell-by date, but he still keeps playing. Kalidou Koulibaly, and he made two errors that led to their defeats against France. Against Norway, the manager did not learn from his lessons. He fielded the same old players, and again, Kalidou Koulibaly and Idrissa Gueye made the errors that led to Senegal being punished. There was also the issue of player quality, because even against France, Senegal, for all of the coaching issues that I've highlighted, could still have drawn that game. They could have taken the lead in the first half when Ismail Assar missed that chance. In the second half, after they went a goal down, Nicolas Jackson also missed a brilliant opportunity in that game. And I think later, there was another chance that they missed. No, that was in the Norway game. Deep in the game, that could have tied it 3-0. The underlying theme for all of these chances missed is that they were missed by players who have never been known to be consistent. So it's not as if they are players who do well in less testing environments, but when the pressure is on, they just can't seem to do well. That's not the case. Nicolas Jackson has a conversion rate of around 14 to 17% or so. The same goes for Ismail Assar. Assar plays at Crystal Palace. Before that, he was at Watford. The only time Ismail Assar has been known to be consistent is when it's against Liverpool. Nicolas Jackson is as frustrating as they come. Very profligate. Chelsea fans will tell you about that. And we have all known this. So why is it that when they do it at the national team, all of a sudden we say they have weak mentality? It's not the case of players who do well, but in the national team or in high pressure environments, they just can't cope with the weight of expectations and they buckle. That's not it. This is Ismail Assar. This is Nicolas Jackson. This is what he's been doing at Chelsea, at Bayern Munich. Sarr, the same. In the knockout phase, again, the same coaching and individual problems. Even in the group stage, the Simon Adingra chance that he missed against Germany, it was the same. And this iteration of Simon Adingra is different from the one that was working magic 2 years ago at the AFCON. Since the AFCON, he struggled for game time at Brighton. In fact, over 3 years or so, he got, 60 games, if I'm not mistaken. Then he spent the last 2 years at Sunderland and then Monaco. Sunderland 14 games, Monaco 14 games. And he was not a bona fide starter in any of these games that he played at any of these clubs. So he is struggling. When a struggling player misses chances like that, it is consistent with the current state of mind and the current performance levels. Adingra didn't come into this tournament on the back of a hot streak, but buckled under the pressure. In the knockout phase, it is the same. The coaching issues that we've highlighted came back to haunt them. Pap Thiaw again. How do you drop... Those of you who follow me on Twitter, you saw my tweets during the game. Around 58th minute or so, he drops the defensive line. And I tweeted that, look, Senegal have dropped the defensive line too deep and too soon. The consequence of that was that they handed momentum to Belgium on a silver platter. And that is one of the cardinal principles of knockout football, which is you don't allow your opponents to create momentum because there will be no second chances. You'll be punished for it. So you commit fouls, you make tactical fouls, you try to win the ball from them very early. You try to sustain possession, you try to take the wind out of their sail with still passing. And Arsenal do that a lot. When they realize that the opponent is about to generate momentum, a smart coach like Arteta decides that, you know what, sideways passes, we take the momentum away from them and kill the game. Pap Thiaw didn't do that. Rather, he decided to invite Belgium on them. And the curious case is that Belgium were not even putting them under pressure. Belgium were not creating any chances. So tactically, he got it wrong. And then there is an issue of player quality again, because what was Diao doing, the goalkeeper? What was he doing? When he came out, got caught in no man's land, fails to claim that cross or to parry it away, Senegal get punished for it. Then there is a judgment in error by Lamine Camara to give away that penalty. Before that, he had made a similar mistake. So clearly, the things that cost Senegal against Belgium are there. Côte d'Ivoire. I love MS5. I've spoken at length about how brilliant of a coach he has been. Unfortunately, in that game against Norway, I didn't think he held himself after he tied it. First of all, I thought the lineup was wrong. I stated that in a previous episode on this channel, that Amad Diallo should have started the game. I didn't think he also had to take Inau Ulai off in the game. So those were two mistakes the manager made in that game. And at this level, every mistake is punished. He was punished for the latter because the moment he took off Inau Ulai, their control of the game went out of the window. And the protection the backline had went out of the window. And it was the old legs in Frankesi and the sloppy Ibrahim Sangare who were left with the responsibility. But beyond the coach's mistake, there was an issue of player quality as well, because Ibrahim Sangare switched off in the vital moments. If you look at it, a lot of you are focused on how the structure fell apart and three players followed one player close to the corner flag. But if Ibrahim Sangare keeps his eye on the player he was marking, he sniffs out that danger. Perhaps he forces him to overhit or underhit that cut back into Haaland, or he forces him to play for a corner kick. But he moved away to look at the player with possession, and by the time he came back, the damage was done. John Weiser, DR Congo. Are we really saying that he is that one chance, one goal striker? Again, just like Ismail Assar and Nicholas Jackson, we know his conversion rates. These things are easy to find on the internet. Yeah, he's one of those players who can score that goal. If he misses it, you would say it's pretty disappointing. But he is not Erling Haaland. He is not Kylian Mbappe. He's not Harry Kane. So the player quality is that, look, the final point I'm going to make is this. Just look at the coaches who are beating us. The coaches who are profiting from the so-called weak mentality in this game. DR Congo. Sebastian Desabre, Thomas Tuchel. Tuchel is a Champions League winner. Coached at the Premier League with Chelsea. Coached PSG. Coached Borussia Dortmund. He is the one coaching England. And the player who punished DR Congo is Harry Kane. Pound for pound, the best striker in the world. Others would say it's Erling Haaland or Kylian Mbappe. But Kane has a legitimate claim to it as well. Senegal, who eliminated them? Belgium. You may not like Rudy Garcia, but you cannot tell me that someone who has had consecutive jobs in Serie A, in the French league, at clubs like AS Roma, Marseille, and Co. is a shabby coach. He has the intelligence and the mind to coach at this level. That is why he keeps getting jobs. Compare Rudy Garcia to Pape Thiaw. You tell me, compare the two and tell me what the answer. DR Congo against Cote d'Ivoire, yeah? Cote d'Ivoire against Germany. Germany were led by a former Bayern Munich coach, Julian Nagelsmann, coach at Hoffenheim, very experienced, even for his age, against MS5. Complete mismatch. Complete mismatch. Even for South Africa, who had Hugo Broos. They were going up against Jesse Marsch. Marsch had coached in the Bundesliga, coached Leeds United in the Premier League. We know him. He's used to this level of football. So there is a golfing class between the coaching minds leading these African teams and the teams that are beating us. Look, I saw my brother reference the Arrigo Sacchi statement after they came from behind to beat Nigeria in US 94. Arrigo Sacchi. Who was coaching Nigeria again? Who was coaching Nigeria again? So we're talking here in Arrigo Sacchi about possibly the most influential coaching mind in the modern era. If you are talking about the coaches whose principles change the game, you will mention Arrigo Sacchi, you will mention Arsene Wenger, you will mention Alex Ferguson, Rinus Michels. The Barca fans would like to add, what's his name, Johan Cruyff to the conversation. You will not go past Arrigo Sacchi. So maybe we've been unlucky in terms of who we are getting in the ring with, but there is a golfing class. And I think that is the area we need to focus on and attempt to address, rather than just the cheap citadel of, it's just a matter of mentality, it's a glass ceiling of mentality that we've not been able to shatter. I don't think so. We don't have the player quality. We don't have the coaching quality at this level. And until we get to the point where we're able to address that matter, our teams will continue to suffer. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of this matter, and please subscribe to the channel.